Hello, everybody, and welcome to Soon to Be Fired. Once again, Mo is not here this week, so I will be hosting the show. The reason I'm not wearing a shirt right now is not because I want to be shirtless at all. Is because I lost a bet. If you don't know,
You literally lost your shirt in a bet.
I lost my shirt and all dignity. Everything is gone.
Yeah,
to my left.
On that note, I just want to thank the Wolverines. Wolverines, thank you for winning.
Yeah. Well, this is apart from that. It's not even Pool of Death. I'm not wearing my wig because Peasy forgot it or he couldn't find it.
No, what happens is, like when guys on trial and the cops are like, "Don't skip town." It's this kind of thing. The week's coming. Just don't skip town, Vince.
Okay.
It's coming
Next week. So, and I figured since I'm doing a podcast shirtless, might as well put glasses on, be a full-fledged douchebag. To my left, I got GM Calatras and Peasy straight ahead. Say hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
Okay, so we're going to dive right into the game that got me shirtless. So, Got Skills against Finest.
So describe why you're shirtless today. Like exactly what was the bet?
Well, if you guys didn't see it, I told JC
Mercier, of course.
JC Marcel, yeah. I told him in a private conversation, which I thought was going to stay private, that if Got Skills was to beat Finest, I would do the podcast shirtless. I would put his colors on my face and write his team name on my chest.
Because what are the conceivable odds?
Because in my mind, there's 0% chance that they're beating Finest. They already lost one game. There's no way they're losing two in a row, and there's no way Got Skills is going to be the team to beat them again. On
a related note, the weirdest thing I've ever had to do as a producer for this show is write "Got Skills" on your chest with lipstick. And the other thing is, Montreals Finest also cost Terry Tam a win in Table of Terror, who was thrilled to receive Montreal's Finest when pulling it in Table of Terror.
Oh yeah, he got booed.
You couldn't, of course, watch us pulling names for next week's Table of Terror at the Table of Terror segment at 8 o'clock. Yeah.
So, in this game, Got Skills beats Finest 39-38, a game ultimately that came down to a 2-point conversion at the end of the game that they converted to go up 39-38. In this game, Got Skills had 2 interceptions, JC Merciel 10 receptions, 85 yards, 2 TDs. How big of a win was this for Got Skills?
Paramount. Absolutely incredible. It's really a statement game showing, hey, we're a legitimate threat. We've moved up to Division 1 for a reason. We play together outdoors. Take us seriously.
More importantly, how important is this for Chantomo as a quarterback?
It's a huge confidence booster that he can go toe-to-toe and come out on the receiving end. He has his defense to back him up. He knows that he can make those plays as well. Absolutely paramount.
How much of this is that Montreal's Finest tends to play better against teams they know versus teams?
I have mentioned that as well, and we were going to touch into it, is that you see that sort of familiarity, and when they start to struggle, even last year, they had some of their closest games against Terror Squad who trailed at the bottom of Division 1.
Very
the
true.
teams that they're not familiar with are the teams that they struggle against.
So would you say that defensively, Montreal's Finest has hit the ceiling, and now what's starting to happen is every other team is catching up, or is it just a bad matchup in terms of athleticism? Like they're going up against teams who are stacked with athletes. Not that Finest isn't, but for some reason now they're starting to lose one-on-ones and therefore starting to lose games.
Well, there's only so much of a ceiling you can have on talent. I mean,
well, there's a ceiling based on your ratings
good.
as well.
Yeah,
you have a cap for your ratings, so now you can only have a certain amount of talent on your team, which they have all the talent they could possibly need to play defense. But what explains them losing 2 games in a row now?
They're the most visible team in FPF. Granted, they are the best. They have been the best for some time, but you have a quarterback that runs a set plays that work a lot of the time, and they have a defense that do. They just got put out of their comfort zone.
And I think every team is starting to try to build to beat the Finest. They have the target on their back every week.
And I think more teams have watched Finest play and realized that they keep it so simple and they win so many games that is the model to follow. Keep it simple. Make it work, do the little things right, and build off that. And that's it. Every other team is starting to do that.
Because in Division 1, athleticism is not enough. Everyone's athletic.
And this is a perfect example, because Got Skills prior to this game, Chantomo did nothing but throw the ball deep. He forces balls, and now just JC, his snapper, having 10 receptions shows you that he's changed his game plan. I would think.
You mentioned something off camera as well. You asked me when the last time Montreal's Finest had lost 2 games in a row.
And you said it was probably back in 2011 or 2012?
No,
not even?
No.
So further back? So
No.
it's at least 6 years ago?
It's got to be pre-2009.
So it's at least 7 years ago. So at least 14 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
That they
that
haven't
they've
lost 2 games straight.
back to back. Exactly.
That
Back
is
in the
something
annals
else.
of history.
That is something else.
The annals of history.
I did say annals, just to be clear. I did say annals.
I just want to be clear that now that we're done this game, I'm gonna put my sweater back on because I'm super uncomfortable, and I'm gonna take these glasses off.
You have no integrity.
You're gonna give me shit for it.
No
and I don't
integrity.
care. Moving on, legends. Legends serve with ice.
On what planet is this integrity to begin with? This journalism. Journalism.
Listen, all I know is I don't know if I can take his story seriously anymore because he puts his sweater back on after starting the show shirtless.
It's okay. It's now going to say "got skills" backwards on the inside of his sweater.
Yeah, well, I just scrapped the sweater for sure. All right. So Rob owes me a sweater. Legends serve with ice, a game that I watched. A big game for Legends coming off that debacle against Wolverines. They win 32-19 against serve with ice. Corey Pecker, 5 TDs, 1 INT. Jordan Panetta, 3 TDs, 1 INT. Phil Cutler and Jeremy Cola combined for 4 touchdowns in this game. How badly did Legends need to win this game?
It's definitely a confidence booster. At the same time, Serve with Ice came out firing on all cylinders. They were a complete team for once. Jordan Panetta was in the mix. They were able to sign their guys to their regular roles, and we saw them absolutely decimate.
Yeah. How important, because JD wasn't at this game. JD Chevalier was not present at this game. How important is he to this offense, and even more on defense?
I think it goes without saying that Serve with Ice have been in the league for a long time. You know that JD is Panetta's weapon of choice for that deep bomb, for those short slant routes. He's really an all-purpose receiver, especially in Division II, where you need someone to really stand out. He's that guy.
He's gone through numerous studs. I was on that team the first year we came in. Pascal, we're talking about Chilambo was on this roster.
Jordan McLaren at one point as well.
He's had a lot of really good targets, and I feel like when he's missing his key guy, he gets so thrown off. Like I was watching his game, and he looked so uncomfortable throwing the ball that the only thing that worked for him was his rollout left and a flick to his slant.
Yeah.
If that's what you got, if that's the only thing that works when your best guy isn't there, you're gonna have problems going down.
It would have been a confidence boost. Legends took this one. They really showed us that even though we've been sleeping on them for a little while,
yeah,
they're to be taken seriously.
Would you say that Legends are starting to get or find chemistry with each other now?
It's not a thing.
Chemistry's not a thing?
Well, no, they've played together so long that why would they not have it in the first 2 weeks?
I'm talking about one of the most important players on this roster is now Phil Cutler. Phil Cutler has never played with them before. And now he's
but they've brought in players in the past.
So remove Vince Nardone from the equation, insert Phil Cutler. It's the same dynamic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's an issue of chemistry. I just think it's, you know what, like they happen to catch a matchup, play better than Serve with Ice. Serve with Ice missing Chevalier, as you said. So there's a lot of circumstances to play into it. It's not just chemistry, not just the thing that makes everyone feel better about the game. Like
right, but it's still a thing that's part of the game, and I feel is something that's really important. Gladiator have they ride the wave of chemistry all the way to the playoffs every year.
All the way until they lose in the playoffs, absolutely.
Oh,
because at the end, they
at least gives them a chance.
They lack
to play.
what it takes to actually compete in these games.
Right.
So therefore, I mean, it can only take you so far. You know what I mean? Like it's. I think
that
to me
among other things, but it's still important.
Important, but I think there's so many other factors in this specific game.
Okay. I'll disagree with you.
And you'll be wrong. It's okay.
What
color's your face again? You've been wrong before, Vince.
Another D1, D2 observations.
It's all over his face.
D1 is just, how can you say this? It's chaotic right now. It's
the best.
It's the best, but it's chaotic. It's controlled chaos. Give me one word to describe this mess. This
chaos?
Mess of Division.
Is it the one?
Other than the one I just used. Where's my cappuccino, by the way?
How about
Where's
parody?
Where's my latte?
Yeah, how about parody?
Parody? That's
Yeah.
a good word. That's what I would have used. But I feel like we toss that word around so much, and that was a point for the ratings. It was a point for the Caps. Parody. You want a parody. You want a parody. So, yes, we got parody now. Give me a better word than that.
I don't think there can be a better word
Fine.
than that.
I'll give it to you.
Exciting. I'm gonna say exciting.
Yeah.
For the
That's
first
good.
time in a while, we had the spring season and we had this season where
Oh, yes.
I truly
Oh,
feel
yes.
Simon Dashner paying up his table terror bet
Yeah.
as we all get coffees.
Who lost for Simon?
Simon, who lost for you? Oh, Cougars in D4.
So thank you to Cougars.
Thank you for the coffee. So I would say excitement because for a long time Div 1 was a snooze fest because, and I mean not the games themselves, but so the conclusion was irrelevant, right? We knew who was going to win, we knew who was going to be the finals. Now it really is up in the air.
Yeah. who in Div 1 would you say needed this bye week the most? Like right now, who needed this to just take a breather, think about things, and move on?
DK?
Why?
They got smashed by
Yeah,
the
they did.
Lunatics.
Yeah.
I think with a roster this deep right now that both DK and the Lunatics have, and D1 is not going to be a gamble for any of these teams right now. They need to really retool. Lunatics came prepared for them, and Paul just slung it deep.
I'm going to say Flagma sack, but it's not really true because they'll probably just spend a bye week drinking. So
What makes you
that
say
might
that?
be worse. I don't know. It just they seem like they would do it in their spare time.
But
so.
on the other hand, does this break some of the team's momentum? Teams like Got Skills, who just won a big game, or CBL, who are having a terrific season so far, undefeated. Do you think it's going to break some of these teams'
1-0-2
momentum?
Or
Yeah.
2-0-2?
Well, they haven't lost. Yeah. And I saw Carmen refereeing Sunday in Lachine, and he just kept saying, "Well, we haven't lost. We haven't lost." And then he was referring to me saying that they're bottom tier, and then he goes, "We haven't lost, but we're bottom tier." And he's saying it like so I don't hear him, but I hear him. It's like, "Come on, Carmen, I can hear you." Anyways, so do you think this bye week is gonna be negative for some of these teams? You said yes.
Yeah.
Well, but who? For Got Skills, for example?
It's going to be one of these teams that, honestly, I just mentioned that they smashed DK, but Lunatics, a team where it's not the same guys week in, week out. They have a little bit of chaos at the positions. They're a bigger roster too. I think that just falling out of practice for a week might be a little bit detrimental to them.
How many wins do you think it's going to take to clinch the first seed for Division 1?
8.
8, so 8-2?
Yep.
And who do you think is going to clinch that?
Or 6 in the case of CBL if they go 6.
All right. 6-0-4.
6-0-4.
That's not
That'd
bad.
be
That's
awesome.
a really good season.
That would be awesome. Once it's
Undefeated.
was incredible.
That's undefeated. Okay, so right now we have quite a cluster of 2-2 teams.
Cluster buck, so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. So we got Legends, No Regard, Chernobyl, and Untouchables. Who do you like coming out of this bunch going forward in the season?
Untouchables. They have that tackle experience. They have guys who are really interchangeable. They're a really, really strong team. We haven't talked a lot about them, but
they lost this weekend to CLR in a punch per punch game. Justin didn't start the game. I think he was there and then he went to the bathroom and he missed the first offensive series, which didn't matter because the other guy who threw 3 balls for a touchdown. So, he threw 3 times, one of which was a touchdown. So I was like, just leave that guy in the game. Justin, go back to the bathroom. And who do you think is going to fall behind in that group of 4? Like, who would you sell if you had stocks in the team?
Right now, especially with their quarterback injury, it's going to be #NR. There's no other.
Now it's
more
Lubin
glaring.
is throwing, right?
Yeah.
Lubin is throwing for Norway.
James, Lubin
Bring
is
back
taking in
Hallowack.
for, is coming in for you. Yeah.
That's a good one. # bring back Hallowack. Is that what's happening?
Honestly, like the thing is, James gets hurt all the time. James Softiani should be his name. But the thing is,
James
he does.
Softiani.
Also, by the way,
I wasn't just
to
talking
fill
to
in,
GM. What the hell?
before we
the
move,
hell,
before
man?
we move on.
I wasn't moving on. It was the same goddamn topic.
Because Vince said the guy who filled in for
Kevin
for
Lubin.
Justin Lavallee.
Oh yeah,
on the
yes.
Untouchables, the guy who filled in is actually Quade Johnson.
Quade
Quade
Johnson, right.
Concordia's quarterback.
Cool.
Quade's
Oh,
backup quarterback.
That'll explain it.
Yep.
All
Do
right.
I have your permission?
Going back to
speak,
Peas.
GM, have your permission to continue?
I'm really humbled that you're asking me for once, so I'm just gonna let this moment coast for as long as we can.
Like we did with shirtless Vince Nardone.
Yeah, so take over.
we asked so many questions to prolong that segment. It was amazing. No, so more seriously, like the thing is with James Softiani is he does get injured every season, but he always finds a way to come back. So I think they'll be okay. My team is Legends. Like I said, to me, it's one game, not indicative. I'm not buying yet.
Perfect. So, if you could pick a team between these 4 or in these 4 to come out and actually win this division, who would you pick?
Chernobyl Circus.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you picked Untouchable to come out of this. You had a lot of faith.
They're
in
also
them.
in different conferences.
Right. Okay. So you think Untouchable will win their division and Chernobyl can come out and win their?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
It'll be tough though because Untouchables doesn't have the Terror Squad has the tiebreak over Untouchables.
no, we don't
Yes.
take breaks.
So there is that. There is that.
Sorry, Pete. Eagle was telling me to take a break.
So yeah, we're good.
It's not something we do. No break. Moving on.
Unless
Inside,
it's taking a break from being shirtless.
yeah, that I'm not going back to. That was embarrassing, honestly. I'm not comfortable with my shirt off. I don't care what you guys say.
So on the beach, you wear like a sweater?
Even at the beach, I'm not comfortable. Inside the matchup. So we're going to go Glads versus Monstars. So matchup within a matchup. So we're going to go with the QB. Frank LeBeau versus Rod Mashtub. So
By the way, I fucked up. Untouchables are in the same division.
dick. Now you've made us all look bad. You're going to get fired. I'm going to have to go back
Soon
to
to be
that
fired.
chair.
I'm glad.
going to have to go back to that chair.
That's fine. Soon
Well, I
to be
mean, if only
fired.
the producer would have done the research on that one.
Seriously. Jeez. So Frank LeBeau versus Rod Mashtub. I hope I'm saying that right. So you got a dick and donk offense in Glads, and then you got a go deep with the Monstars. Who would you pick, or which style does favors you in this game?
Right now, I've always been a big proponent of experience. The Glads are the team that have seen the most. They've adapted to a lot.
So experience, but not chemistry, right? According to Pisa.
No, I'm saying chemistry counts. It's a catch-all phrase instead of doing actual analysis.
I was going to say, on what planet do the Glads not have chemistry?
So you go with the dick and donk before the throw it deep every other play?
Oh, absolutely.
You know you've seen him. Have you seen him play?
Yeah, he's got a
Monstars?
cannon.
Yeah. So
Just throwing it up to the sidelines to the wide
do
out.
you think he's on the cusp of being spoken as one of the top tier quarterbacks in Division 2 and maybe one day be in Division 1?
He's a very, very good quarterback, but there's a lot of quarterbacks capable in Division 2 right now.
Yeah.
Just off the top of your head, so you have Frank LeBeau,
Yep.
you have Mathieu René, you have Paul Lapierre, Marco Massiotra,
Dupree.
Kevin Wyeth. There's way too many quarterbacks in Division 2 to even make that statement.
Yeah. I agree, and I'm not like Mo. I don't think because the guy throws in Division 1, you shouldn't take him. You shouldn't take account.
It's still in the competition.
Yeah,
It's
he's
still in full talent.
exactly, and I agree with you.
Or even the new addition with the drama going on, the addition of Rickon and Cherry to the Raiders.
rough outing this weekend against Demps 25-8, a team who was winless and was getting dismantled week in and week out, and then they come out and dismantle the Raiders against Rick. So I don't know.
The Raiders aren't a particularly strong roster,
No.
and
he was missing
Number
a lot
7.
of easy throws.
but Dams have a good defense too, though.
Vince and I, for those of you who don't know, Vince and I were on the sidelines of that game, and Michael Roy was calling his number out to us to make sure to get his stats right, and then dropped like 2 passes back to back.
Did you count the drops?
I'm number 7. I love that. As a scorekeeper, that's my favorite. Or guys who come and see the stats after the game.
So Marco?
How many yards did I have? So I erased a reception for 40. Perfect. If you had to pick a trio between the Aridi brothers and Allard, or Guimier, Lever, and Chartrand, which one would you pick?
The Aridi brothers and ICLR.
Yeah?
Yep.
Why?
You have consistency at rush. You have a bunch of players who can play a multitude of different positions. So you have a snapper in that mix. You have a deep pass threat. You have someone who has size. You have speed. Those 3 have everything.
I agree. I would have picked the Aridis myself and Allard. I like the Aridis. I think Ryan is an underrated receiver at wide. He's got so much speed. We know as a rusher that he's a speedy guy. He can torch probably 98% of the DBs.
And he makes those full extension catches.
And he's got good
stride.
hands. No, he's got great hands. He's got good he's a good receiver. I would have him on my team if I could. I like him. So inside the numbers, this is something that Mo wrote down. I hope these numbers are right. I'm taking no credit for this. So 3 D2 quarterbacks have 100 yards rushing. You got Mashtub, you got Vildeth, and you got Tabet. So far, no QBs in Division 1 have 100-yard rushing. The nearest is Nadeau Pius with 92 yards. Do you think a dual threat quarterback could be useful in Division 1?
Not really. The defenses are too fast. They play too physical. We saw Tam Villadeth in Division 1 was still mobile, but was contained a lot easier. The defenders did not let him get those short zone yards. They don't miss tackles either.
Right.
So it's just not as feasible.
I think what's important to think about when you have a dual threat quarterback is that he buys time with his feet and he makes things open up downfield. But in Division 1, things don't open up downfield. Things stay locked down and coverage continues rolling towards the receiver because they're guys who have played tackle football. They are guys who know what to read and they're guys who understand what you're doing and why you're doing that. So they're not biting on your rollout or they're not biting on your fake run and they're not making anything available for you while you're trying to do that. So
And to me, the most successful we've seen is Nadeau Hughes, and that he's not necessarily a running quarterback, but definitely a mobile quarterback. I mean, he's running more this season, but what he has done is just
he makes do with what's given to him.
Exactly,
Right.
and
success.
But he's able to throw. Like it's an actual dual threat. It's not a guy who can run.
Yeah.
It's a guy who runs as well as he throws.
But
basically.
you can take any quarterback in Division 1, and when they have rushing stats, it's almost always for the same reason. They beat the rush on one of those quick hip movements, and
They have so much room downfield.
and everybody's locked up in man, and they're far downfield, so they'll eat up 15 yards, and that's it. It's not because they had designed to run; it's because they read man. They were smart enough to just make a move to beat the rush and then go get those yards. But 50% of the time, the rusher's going to get those flags. But the other 50 is where those rushing stats come into hand. Do you think by the end of the year there's going to be a QB in Division 1 with over 200 yards rushing?
No.
No, not
Absolutely
a chance?
not. In Division 1 or Division 2?
1.
No,
I don't think so
absolutely
either.
No?
I don't think we'll break 150.
All right.
Maybe
Well,
Nadeau Hughes is already at
Nadeau
92.
has 92 after
Yeah, but
4 games.
even then, he might not be. They might not be put up the same way.
All right.
Fair.
I agree. So we're moving on to a new segment, a segment that we're going to be introducing this week and probably going forward with. You're going to
I
be
hope not, because I have an article coming out. That
Yeah, but your article is probably going to be for every other division. Just don't talk about Division 1 and 2.
I have some good ones in Div 1 and 2
But
though.
the more players we have, the better. Here's the theme for us. If we were to make a movie, or if there was to be a movie about Flag Plus football, and we needed actors to fill in players' roles, they're obvious. Like let's say we're doing Finest against D-Boys. Who would be the actors playing the players on those teams in those games? So what we're going to do is every week I'm going to come up with 3 players with 3 actors to fill in those roles. GM is going to have a couple today, and I don't know if PZ has any available for us.
I got one.
You have
I got
one?
specific one.
Okay, it's good enough. I have
I'll
mine.
let you do yours first because I know your list, and I think you might forget a few. So.
I have pictures for mine that Eagle's going to put up.
Mine's
when
not
I
from my
say
list
them.
though.
Okay.
I need to urge that nobody take anything personal with these actors.
Oh, please do. It's gonna be awesome. For example, I'll start firing shots first. Mine would be that in the FPF in the FPF film, Vince Nardone would be played by Harley Quinn Smith, Kevin Smith's daughter. I see it. Basically, if you put a beard on her, it's a nightmare. If you put a beard on her and add an Adam's apple, you have Vince
So
Nardone.
a female would be playing my role.
Yes. Well,
that's,
because come
that's
on.
nice.
Small, tiny hands.
There we go.
Which one did I give you, Melissa
Yeah,
McCarthy?
which, by the way, is an admission that you watch.
PC?
It's an admission that you watch Gilmore Girls. Because I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, who is this person? She's like, it's the fat chick on Gilmore Girls. So
I don't watch Gilmore Girls, but I've seen
Now
a
we
lot of
know.
her movies. And she's,
Now we know
she's
Vince Nardone.
fucking hilarious. She's your female
Basically.
version. I agree.
I can't wait to meet her.
I'm glad
She's
you
been
agree
good.
with me. Who would you go with?
Well, it's not a movie star. I know you mentioned before. Well, it's on your list, so you're going to say it anyways. But
Don't use mine.
so it's going to come. Jeff Rosenblatt, Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're interchangeable.
That's
Just
a good
saying.
one. That's a good one. Unfortunately, we don't have pictures, but now mine are gonna come. So we're gonna go Antonio Lani first. I don't know if the picture's up right now. So Antonio Lani would be played by Johnny Depp. Hopefully,
Not bad.
Eagles keeping up. He is keeping up. Okay, I took
Alternatively, by John Frusciante.
some of these
Orlando
things.
Bloom.
Some of these guys, I've creeped their Facebook to look for pictures that resemble the actor more. So my second one was Vinny Galano, and it was a picture on
This
his
is a good
Facebook.
one.
And I would go with Ryan Gosling, obviously.
That was good.
So we have the most unathletic actors playing football at this point. So you got Johnny Depp lined up next to Ryan Gosling if Antonio was on the same team.
Hey,
as
Ryan
Galano.
Gosling is he's a liability at corner. Remember the Titans?
Oh, that's so true. That was his first role ever, and
Is it?
and he gets benched. His dad goes nuts in the stands,
Yep.
and then he ends up playing later on. And that's a good for you, Jim. My last one is Theo Jaya, and he would be played by William James Adams Jr. For those of you who don't know who that is, it's Will I Am. Will I Am would be playing Theo in this game.
It's pretty good.
So that's all I've got for this week. Hopefully by the end of the season we'll have, or by the end of by week 10, we can carry on through the playoffs. We'll have full rosters.
Gentlemen, it is time for Games of the Week. Terror Squad is actually what they're called. They take on #NR, and with the injured James Floriani, Terror Squad are favored by 4.5 points.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah,
Terror
I'll take
Squad.
that. I'll take that every time.
100% all day. Bring back Hallowack.
I feel like I would even take that with Floriani in the mix. I would still take that.
Yeah, me too. I would.
Yeah, it
Hands
seems
down.
like a small spread, but Vegas seems to know what they're talking about. Maybe they're saying they're better without James Floriani. Legends take on Chernobyl, and Chernobyl is favored by 7.5 points. Both teams are 2-2. Winner will have the tiebreaker.
I'm going to take to cover. I'm going to take Legends to cover.
I'm going to take Chernobyl on that one. I think that they're very well built, and it's going to be frustrating for the
Chernobyl
Legends.
to win, but Legends to cover.
Boys, we have Valentine's Day around the corner. Girls are dreaming of what we got them. We're going to shatter their hearts, absolutely, because we will no doubt mess up.
We will all go broke.
In a game to keep their playoff hopes alive, Wild Boys take on Damps 25-8, and Wild Boys are 2.5-point favorites.
I feel like this game could not have come at a better time for Wild Boys, who are in a downward spiral right now. Honestly, it's just like people are.
I think the jump back to Div 2 wasn't when they were
But they started off
anticipating.
so well. The season started off so well for them, and it's just now it's like they can't even. Nothing's working for them at all. I'm gonna go for Demps, 25-8 on this one, to
ride the wave.
To ride the wave, yeah.
Excellent.
I think that Wild Boys can actually take this one. It's definitely going to come. It's not going to be down to the wire, but it's whichever team shows up with intensity is going to win it.
There's two things that I decided I was going to do this week. One of which was to never pick Wild Boys to win again, because they've always let me down, and I will never pick Glads to lose again, because they always prove me wrong. So going forward, you already know that.
And in the last game, we have Clockwork taking on CLR. With a win, Clockwork
Big game.
could be in first place, and they are favored by 5.5 points.
I think Clockwork is gonna be really pissed off about their last outing. Marco had a horrific outing. I'm gonna go with Clockwork on this one.
This one's really tough because CLR Forces went toe to toe with the Untouchables.
Yep.
Granted, Clockwork and the Untouchables are two totally different teams,
Mm-hmm.
but I like CLR Forces in this one.
I just don't like the matchups. I don't like the one-on-ones.
So I think that Clockwork to win, but they're not gonna make the spread.
Okay.
Just before I let you sign off the show, Vince, I just want to remind everyone.
I don't know how to sign off a show, so
excellent.
you can do it.
Before I let you set up the show, GM, we should plan this better. I just wanted to remind everyone that if you want to tweet us, you can tweet us at EagleFPF. If you have any ideas of Hollywood lookalikes for our show, we will actually absolutely read them online and give you credit, unless it's me who reads it, in which case I will absolutely steal it from you. Aside from that, remember that at 8 o'clock, immediately after the show, it's actually already past 8 o'clock, so immediately after the show, we will jump right into Table of Terror.
That's our sign off right now. We can just jump into it right now. It is that time.
We can jump. Well, no, we have a separate segment for it now. So we will set up anyway. That said, Table of Terror, of course, is where we choose random teams to go toe-to-toe each week, and whoever loses has to undergo a punishment, much like Vince Nardone, who will have to wear a wig next week, as he has already lost this past week and owes us a punishment. It is completely at random, since we don't actually know what we're talking about. GM.
And on the subject of things that we don't know what we're talking about, thank you so much for tuning into the Div 1, Div 2, soon to be fired. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.
It's almost as bad as my... Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is the Table of Terror segment. It is the Week 5 segment, Eagle? Eagle, it's Week 5, right? Well, we're going into Week 5. So the predictions, of course, will be between Week 5 and Week 6, as there is a bye week for many teams. So, of course, whatever team you pick, it is for their next game. You do not instantly get a bye just because your team has a bye. So we're about to get into picks. Just a reminder what this is, of course. Each week we reach into the box of terror and pull out a team at random, anywhere from Division 1 to FPF Junior, as well as some special tabs. We do this specifically because we believe firmly, as I'm sure many of you do, we don't actually know what we're talking about. So these picks are completely at random. When some of us lose, like I lost this week, and have to buy a round of drinks for the gentleman on the Calling the Audible show, and apparently their girlfriends and GM's grandmother, I just wanted to go ahead and let everyone know there's a table of punishments. You can see that on the flag football wall on Facebook. And the Eagles got that posted right now, actually. So if you're watching live, you're seeing the Table of Terror and you see the punishments that we have lined up this week. If you've watched the Division 6 podcast, you've seen Deez Delarise with his hand in a bag full of mayonnaise, as well as Chapman, our producer, having to drink 2 liters of chocolate milk, and he still looks terrible. He may have contracted diabetes. And then some other bets, of course, have been taking place all week long. Simon Dagenet had to bring us all coffee, so we thank him for that. Without further ado, your picks for Week 5, and we started off this week with Chapman. Chapman, how's it feeling? How's the 2 liters of chocolate milk?
Oh, it's great. I'd vomit it all up. Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct in Division 3.
I will also be picking for D's.
And for Deez Delarise, who had to leave early tonight because he was full of mayonnaise,
V-Nation.
V-Nation in Division 4B. Next up is Simon Dagenet.
I'm also picking for Mokan. He's not here today.
That's true. He has a punishment too. He's got to eat 15 hot dogs next week on
So
the
this
show.
is for Mokan. Labor Days.
Labor Days. Did they ever win yet?
No, no.
Simon Dagenet.
And for me, Longhorns.
The Longhorns. It's the Longhorns. Which division, Simon? Which division? 4B? 4B. James Floriani, who's a guest this week, but he is not he's not exempt from the Table of Terror. OTF in Division 3. And GM Brent Callender's up next. Brent Callender. How do you feel? You feel lucky, punk?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
You know there's a Montreal Canadian stab in there, so I hope you don't get that one.
Div 4B, balls deep.
Balls deep. And here comes GM Calethris.
Division 4A, 5-star. Jeremy
5-star.
Anderson, I'm coming for you if you lose.
Division 4A. The Eagle at Master Control. Where's Vince Nardone, by the way? And Terry, I don't know.
Am I picking for me? Am I picking for Terry?
Well, pick for Terry first.
Alright. Terry gets Division 4A Coyotes.
Coyotes. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Mind you, Montreals Finest last week and lost. Mokan pick? No, not Mokan. Vince Nardone picks.
Vince Nardone picks Division 5B. I rep that West.
5B. I rep that West. Eagle, what's your pick?
And for myself, Division 3 Mongoose.
Division 3 Mongoose. And I'm going to go ahead and reach into the box to pick my fate. I have Mercenaries Division 3. And with that is the Table of Terror. Thank you. All right, so we'll just close in after next week. Not particularly. No one's good in this box. Montreals Finest lost. The Broncos must win the Super Bowl for Vince Nardone to not suffer a punishment. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Table of Terror segment. Thank you for joining us. See you next week on Table of Terror.